Investors are learning a real hard lesson in Cleveland, Ohio right now. If you look at foreclosures in 2025, the data's in, foreclosures are up across the board, but still well below historical averages. So nothing really bad happening in the market there. Things are just returning to normal. But what was really interesting, outside of the really obvious markets that see a lot of foreclosures like Florida, the Sunshine States, all that kind of stuff, one of the states with the most foreclosures is Ohio, and within that is Cleveland. And Cleveland has been a really popular market for investors. Certainly, we've helped investors buy properties in Cleveland, but there are a ton of foreclosures there. According to ATTOM's data, right now, about 1 in 189 housing units are in foreclosure. Why is that? Well, it's for one reason, really, well, one main reason, and this is a really, really good lesson for investors. Cleveland's been really, really popular for investors, and a lot of people bought there with cash flow margins of like 100, 150, $200 a month. So they buy the property, they leverage it, they've got a mortgage, they're paying their property taxes, insurance, property management fees, repairs, all that kind of stuff, and they're left with a monthly margin of say 100, $150. So they think that's great. But in Cleveland, what happens is property taxes are reassessed every 6 years. And that happened in 2024. So property taxes went through the roof. They had 6 years worth of reassessments in 1 year. So that $100 a month, $150 a month in profit turned into $100 a month to $150 a month in losses in some cases for some people. And in some cases, if you throw in vacancies, repairs, and all that kind of stuff that people don't really account for properly, you start to see why there's so many foreclosures there, because people paid too much for properties, or they didn't put enough money down as a down payment, their margins were too thin, and they didn't account for the fact that 1, 2 years later, they're going to get a huge increase in one of the main fundamental costs of owning rental property, and that's property taxes. So this is why when you're underwriting a rental property investment, you really need to make yourself aware of how property taxes are reassessed, when they're reassessed, and take a look at the history. Have a look at what kind of increments you see annually, so you avoid situations like this and you're not left like some of these investors now in Cleveland in foreclosure because they can't afford to keep up the mortgage payments on the DSCR loans that they use to purchase their rental properties there.